Good morning! How's everybody doing this morning? Welcome to Bible study, and just been sharing this for just a couple of seconds here. I hope you'll do the same. Tag somebody, share this, comment where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and hashtag today. Just a quick recap. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Destiny. I see lots of people coming in and out. Got a couple on YouTube. So, you know, this is something new, and my engineer told me yesterday around, I think it was 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock or something, that I didn't tell anybody what I was doing today, that I didn't announce going live. And I had an issue with my privacy settings on my live there for a little bit. So we've gotten everything fixed. And I know that this will grow from here. But, you know, the most important thing is that you're here. And I'm excited. We also will edit this and put it on Dominion TV later. And it may be a part of some of my coaching programs, because God's business, being about my Father's business, is very important. It was so important that at Jesus, as a preteen at 12, 13 years old, you know, went and was debating the religious leaders, and they were going through scripture and going through the scrolls and dialoguing. And he missed the boat out, the caravan that his parents were on to go back home. And when they realized that he wasn't there, they came back searching for him, of course, upset like parents would be. He says, well, why are you looking for me? Don't you know that I must be about my Father's business? And how many know here that being about your Father's business is more than just 2 hours on a Sunday morning? Paused on purpose. It's not that I don't have stuff to say, but that needs to sink in. Good morning, Vera. That needs to sink in, that being about Father's business is more than just one morning a week for a couple hours. And it's more than just ministry, as in religious services, in Christian services, in doing things like we've always seen done. But the Father's business is going out and knowing that he has placed something in your hand. He has given something in your house. There's something in your wheelhouse, and your talents and your gifts and your abilities, something that he has anointed you with, placed inside of you, knew that you were going to accomplish his purpose before the foundations of the world were formed, before you were in your mother's womb. He knew you. And that is where we have to get, is to where we have this knowing that we were here for an assignment. Now, when I do life coaching, I tell my people that your life has left you clues, because a lot of times they'll come, and I've done some things where transitioning from a corporate career into owning your own business, or into being an entrepreneur, working for yourself. But what we don't realize is that our life has given us clues. Okay, so I'm going to take you on a little journey, but stay with me, because this isn't all about me. This is about you, but this is more than just about me and you. It's about what God said. Because we're going to go to 1 Kings 10, and we're going to go to Ecclesiastes 11 here in just a moment. But at a young age, I was probably 8 years old. And it was spring, and my grandparents had come to visit from South Carolina. At the time, I lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And so the snow had just melted, about a month prior, because they were not going to come during a snowy season. Yeah, they were too southern for that. They didn't know anything about the snow. They were staying away. So until this, it was real clear of snow. So it was probably about May, to the first part of June that they were visiting. But that spring, we started noticing in the sandbox were all these green shoots coming up. And we were like, why is my sandbox in like a garden? Well, right before the snow had fallen that fall, is we had collected these helicopter seeds from maple trees, and we'd played with them, and we ended up burying them in the sandbox. And then, the snow, the water, the sand, all that good stuff. That spring, they started shooting up little maple trees. Well, I had this thing inside of me that said, "Oh, cool." We went inside, got the little solo cups, and transplanted these trees into these solo cups. I don't think at the time my mom knew anything about what I was using all her solo cups for, these little ones that we had in the bathroom and stuff. And then we got our red wagon, and we put them all in the red wagon. And I got my first sales team when I was 8 years old. I recruited my sister Dawn and the neighbor girl Carol Ann, and I would push the wagon, and they would take the little plants and go up to doors and sell them for like 50 cents or something like that. Well, my grandparents bought a bunch of these little maple trees from me, gave me a few bucks, and that is my first business venture. And since I had borrowed and used the natural resources around me for everything, it really didn't cost me much, but a little bit of candy to my sister and the neighbor kid. And but the neat thing is we moved to South Carolina when I was 12. So it was about 4 years later. And my grandma had these coffee cans where she had been taking care of these maple trees. And so they went from the solo cups to the bigger cups, and then the Folgers cans, the Maxwell House cans, and when we built, when our house was ready in South Carolina, one of the trees got planted in front of my house, and then she planted a few there, and I got to help plant those trees as a teenager. And still to this day, those trees are there. So that is a constant reminder of how your life leaves you clues. What is that? Well, I've been an entrepreneur since the beginning. I enjoy building sales teams. But there's other things that give you clues. So God has put some things inside of you. There's things that you're passionate about, things that you have a natural knack to do. And so that's really cool. So my main emphasis this morning is to talk about Solomon and his business model and his business methods. And I'm not going to go into his model too much, but I am going to talk to you about Ecclesiastes 11 and 2. And so I'm going to read that first in the King James Version, and then I'm going to give you a couple other versions. If you're interested in increasing your business revenue, I want you to hashtag increase. If you want increase coming to your house, to your business, to your ministry, I need everybody in the chat to hashtag increase right now. YouTube, make sure you're hashtagging increase. If you're on the replay, hashtag increase, because we are going to learn how to multiply some things. So in Solomon says in Ecclesiastes, give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. And the NIV says, invest in 7 ventures, yes, 8. See, I had, good morning, Instagram. You guys let me know that you're on, hashtag increase. I had business people say, you need 7 streams of income. You need seven different flows. When you write a book, you should have at least 7 streams of income coming from that book. For you authors out there, business sometimes looks like ministry, and ministry sometimes looks like business. So don't get confused that increase can come through ministry, increase can come through business, increase can come through your family. We need increase. So the NIV says, invest in 7 ventures. Yes, 8. So what King Solomon here is talking about, give a portion to 7 and also 8. He wants 7 different things that you've invested in that's going to create a flow. Now, I know for some of you, like for me sometimes, I'm like, I've got so many ventures here. It's like if I can just focus on one. Start with one. Focus on one. Build a good foundation. And then keep adding to it. Because times, they are a-changing. Times change. You know, when we first got into TV in the early 90s, does not look like what TV looks like now. We've had to have a lot of changes. We've had to re-strategize, and we've had to, put some different business models in place. So in the Living Bible, it says, divide your gifts among many. For the days ahead, you may need much help. Divide your gifts among many. So to me, one of the first things you have to do when you're looking at business, looking at re-strategizing business, Dr. D came up with this term a couple years ago, revision. So it may be that your business model, the thing that has been bringing income to you, may need to be revisioned, re-strategized. It's not that you have a different vision. Your ministry may need to be revisioned. It's not that there's anything wrong with the message, but sometimes it's our methods that need to be tweaked for the times. Sometimes it's just the strategy, the platforms we use. Back in the day, when you were trying to get your message out, there wasn't social media. So you had the mailed newsletters. You had the church in Augusta, Georgia, 20-something years ago, had a tape of the month club. Then it was a CD of the month club. Then it was a DVD. I mean, and now we can sit there on our computer and we can send out MP3s and MP4s all day and night if you have them converted and done properly. So I don't want you to be married to a method or to a platform. I want you to be open and always open to the avenues that God has for you. So in Solomon, he's talking here about 7 to 8 businesses. So he's the wisest man, ends up being the richest man. If you go to 1 Kings 10, the beginning of the chapter, the Queen Sheba comes to visit King Solomon. Now, other than just general, politics and making the rounds politically of these kings and queens, the royal family, these politicians, the presidents, the prime ministers, they try to keep the political environment. So they go and make sure they're friendly and make friends, and they bring gifts and that kind of stuff. That's not exactly what this trip was about when Queen Sheba came to see King Solomon. It wasn't just for the political looks of things. And when you realize that what she was doing was much more significant because there's no social media here, right? I mean, this is the time they don't have publishing. They're writing the scrolls by hand. They're going out and they're sending people to go make announcements in person because they don't have the telephone. So they're sending somebody on a horse to run ahead of them to say, "Hi, you're going to have a visitor in a couple days." And then follows the visitor. So, the way the mail system's done, the way the communication was done was much differently. But in the Word of God, it talks about how the Solomon's wisdom and excellence and how he ran his kingdom, that was known into other nations and countries. Well, how did that become known? Because people talk. And the best business communication strategy, the best PR strategy is to get people talking. To get people talking about your product, your business, your what you're selling, what you're speaking, what you're doing. Right? So this news about King Solomon is going out to other nations. And so Queen Sheba is hearing so much about King Solomon. So, she's like, I'm going to have to go see what this king is doing. It can't be all of this. But actually, it was all of that and more. You guys, while you're coming in, take a minute to share this. And those that are watching on Dominion TV or watching the replay later, make sure that you hashtag right now. Give them something to talk about. Give them something to talk about. What are you doing that is talk-worthy, that's newsworthy? What kind of PR do you have? So let's give them something to talk about. And so give a portion to 7, also 8. Hi, Leah. God bless you. So 7 streams of income, 7 to 8 revenues comes from King Solomon, the wisest man. So we need to look at our books. Des, grab me a book. And so when you write a book, when you author a work, then you need to have several different means. So that book can give you speaking opportunities. That book can give you coaching opportunities. That book can get people talking about, hey, I'm an author. Can get you talking about other different revenues. So businesses can contact you. Ministries can contact you. Social groups can contact you. So Joyce, if you have a book, because I know Joyce is on here, and it has to do anything with grief and healing, you can go to several of those support groups and go talk to some of the support groups to offer support, because this book makes you an authority on a topic. So this book for me is 63 Days of Transformation to Greater. That's a 9-week program. And so with this, I am also have I did a small coaching group, but that was just to test a coaching program I have coming up that will be group coaching, but it will also be in the digital format to where you can do it at your pace anytime, because a book is great, but if you have somebody talking you through it and giving you support ideas, that's even better. So you have to give them something to talk about. What do we call that now? It's grassroots marketing. Solomon was great on grassroots marketing. So I want to go to 1 Kings 10:24 here. And it says, and all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver, vessels of gold, garments, armor, spices, horses, mules. Y'all bring me a lot, but don't bring me any mules. A rate year by year. Oh. And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom. So that's really interesting, because what I said is, he can't stand up. See, I'm on this platform right now, and it doesn't look like, I'm reaching the reach that we're reaching. But I'm hearing from 170 nations through Dominion TV alone. 170 nations. Well, that's easy to do, because I can literally, every single one of you guys has a television station, has a reporting station, has a communications device. I really challenge that everybody has at least one. I have 3 right here in front of me right now. And that's not my family's devices or anything. Those are mine, between me, personal and business. So imagine the reach that you can have. So Solomon didn't have all of those advantages, but he used the advantages that he had. He used the PR that was available. It's amazing the sphere, the arenas that they had. I dare to say that because Solomon couldn't talk to each person individually, there were several things happening here. One is that effect where you give somebody advice and they kind of keep passing that advice along. Oh, and quoting you. The other is in those arenas, I bet Solomon said on Tuesday of, and I don't know how they said it, if September 24th or, whatever date it could have been, he says, I'm going to be at the arena and I'm going to answer questions, or I'm going to read some of my Proverbs, or I'm going to do this, because Solomon was an author. He was a king. There were several things that he was a landowner. You know that he had a lot of expenses just because of his wife and concubines. So, it does show you that, he was a little crazy at times. But then in the book of Ecclesiastes, it shows you that he comes back and he makes everything right with God. So all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present. Vessels of silver, vessels of gold, garments, armor, spices, horses, mules, a rate year by year. What does that mean? They did it annually. They had an annual subscription to Solomon's wisdom. I need everybody to hashtag, to type in the chat, an annual subscription. It's like when you buy those things, with the television station, with the television station, the media, the marketing, we have to have a lot of software. And so like Adobe, every year we have to renew our licenses to use their software. That's how we edit everything. So Solomon, people had to subscribe annually to his wisdom, to his insight, to his ability to read into situations and to give you the God answer. So tell me that you don't have a gift. Tell me that God doesn't have anything inside of you that you can put out there and people can subscribe to. So this was the first of its kind where you would have a renewal system. You would have a residual thing. Now, I know, I told you life leaves you clues. And I didn't know about residual income. I worked in corporate. And the thing about corporate America was, now early on I did sales and commission, and then I went into banking, which was corporate. And so I knew what I was making whether I showed up or not. But at the same time, the more hours I worked, the less I made. I need a raise of hand if anybody has been there where it's either literally the truth, the more you worked, the less you made, like me, or if it just felt that way. See, membership is a great way for people to pay you and you have a consistent flow of revenue and a stream of revenue. And that is the exciting thing. Now, when I sold insurance, that's when I learned about residual income. That's when I learned that I could make a sale in 2005 and still get paid in 2024. Praise Jesus. Right? And if I would have known then what I know now, I probably would have worked a lot more hours to get a lot more sales. Because I would have been like, ooh, I'm going to want this when I'm living at the beach and I feel like laying in the sunshine and not attending to business, right? So what we have to do is find ways that our 7 streams of income can start, not just, so in media, it's like when somebody comes and does a production and wants us to record in-house, then we will get paid that day and we'll do a whole bunch of stuff. So we get a really good paycheck. but then they may not need anything for another 6 months or another month or something. So it's like this, right? But when you add a membership piece, a subscription piece, when you add a annual rate for an annual renewal, then you know at that time every month or every year, however you're doing it, that these people are paying for that service. Okay, so I'm not going to stay there. So seven ventures, yes, possibly 8. And Ecclesiastes 11:2 says that because you don't know what evil shall be upon the earth. You don't know what the days ahead may be like. That you don't know what kind of disasters may hit. What also does that say? Because you don't know what's ahead, so if all of your eggs are in one basket and that thing just is no longer relevant. Okay, so let's talk about some business models. And in this, we're going to talk about some that have changed a little bit and some of the things that have changed with time. So when me and Dr. D first got married, when the kids were young, I'm talking about the first 10 years, we would do Friday, Saturday nights, our movie nights. And we would go to Blockbuster and we would rent, it started out with the VCRs and then it was the DVDs. So we would rent a movie and we'd bring the movie home, we'd pick up the pizza and we'd have movie night. Well, after so long, when you start getting into, 2010, those things are changing. Good old Blockbuster. Those things started changing. But Blockbuster at the time wasn't changing. So what came out next? Redbox, where you could go to a vending machine and get a movie from a vending machine, doing away with the box store, right? Does anybody get a Redbox movie? So we went from going in and walking through Blockbuster to, as we were going to the grocery store, Walmart, or whatever we were going to do, we would stop at the vending machine on the way in and on the way out and get a movie and then drop it off. A couple good things about that is you weren't confined to the hours that you could do that to. So even if at midnight you decided you wanted to watch a movie, you could run up to the vending machine and get a movie. Okay. So then what was one of the spin-offs for that? So now I think Redbox may still be out there for those of you that even have a DVD player. I've got one in a box somewhere in storage. But then comes Netflix. Now, Blockbuster had to pay the employees to run the stores. They had to pay for the duplication or whatever of getting all those movies in hand and having a limited supply. Then they had to pay for the upkeep and the properties of buildings. Then they had to pay for the insurance and the liability, the staffing, the management, the property companies. Just think of the overhead expense Blockbuster has. Now look at, and then it went to the vending machines. Well, vending machines are a lot less expensive than a big real estate, development venture. And then, so you have the vending machines. Well, now Netflix, other than, probably their headquarters and their distribution, or warehouses where, they're uploading and their servers and that kind of stuff. It's on your device. You download an app. How did somebody have to think? Because you don't know what may come in the future. So this here says, you don't know the days ahead and how much help you may need or what evil may be upon the earth. But also think of, you don't know how much technology is going to change, how much the demand is going to change. So when we lived in North Carolina just a few years ago, there still was a video hub, a video store in Small Town Friendly with DVDs and maybe even VCR tapes. I'm not sure, I never went in there. But because there was not that demand, so it's the what was it, Village Movie Desk, I think, And they had this store and they had movies and everything. But then they started selling all kinds of other things to try to stay relevant, to try to keep business coming in. But I never really saw but one car ever there. So we have to think ahead. We have to think bigger. We have to re-strategize. Like I said at the beginning, don't be married to the method. Blockbuster was married to the method of delivery, the platforms, the technical way of things have been done. We were talking to somebody about how TV's changed. We used to, when we started TV, the tapes, and I have some here somewhere, were about this big. They were bigger than VHS or anything. They were huge. And we had to literally record everything on this tape and drop the tape off at the television station. That's how they got their tapes, is we would have to bring them by a certain time every day. And all day and all night on the 24/7 television stations, they were taking one tape in and putting another tape in. That was somebody's job. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I would have hated that job so bad. Just the repetition of changing tapes all day and night. So where are you at today? What seemed to work for you last year or the year before last, and now it's not working so much? Maybe you just need to re-strategize the method and the platform, the delivery of that thing. That thing may not be the thing that's bad. The message, the book, all those things may not be bad. Maybe you just need to reformat your cover. Maybe you just need to reload it again. Maybe you just need to add a few chapters and change the title. We need to be attractive to the things that are happening now. I'm not saying change your message. I'm not saying change the purpose or the plan God has for your life. I'm saying repackage. You may need to repackage. So it's not the method that's sacred, and we have to realize that. So King Solomon has a lot of wisdom, and we'll be talking about a lot of that in the next weeks to come. You guys, I need you to share this, but I want to encourage you that Dominion TV is going places that we never thought it would go. God's doing things bigger than we could have imagined, and it's still being tweaked and broadcast and re-strategized to reach more homes, more countries, more communities with the gospel of the kingdom message. So I want each and every one of you that are on today to partner with us, to sow a significant seed, because we need to get messages like this, not just the religious messages, but messages of what God talked about with real life. Real life, real business, a real message, and we need to get it out to the world. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after this. But this commercial here is going to tell you how you can sow, how you can partner, how you can give, and get a seed in the ground today. I love you. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, have you remembered to sow your partnership seed this month? No. Take your phone out and go to the app and sow your best seed right there on the app, or take a moment and go to the website and sow your best seed right there on the Giving tab. We need your help here at Dominion TV. With your help and your prayers, we continue to carry the gospel of the kingdom around the world. And those of you that have not been given, or maybe you gave before and you haven't given lately, come on and help us now. I'm calling for you. I'm sending out a message now. Come on and help us here at Dominion TV, because with your help, we're going to do even more and do it with a greater spirit of excellence, because the kingdom of God deserves excellence. And I believe you're a part of making that happen. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving. Thank you for your generosity. Take time right now and sow your monthly seed. If you haven't been partnering, now's the time to partner. We love you. Thank God for you. Keep watching Dominion TV. And remember, you deserve to reign in life.
This ministry is able to fulfill the mandate and command of Jesus to carry the gospel of the kingdom into all the world by the faithful support of people just like you. Give online at www.dominion.tv/giving. Here you will find various ways to give, including DTV's PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, and Venmo giving platforms. You can also securely give and partner with us with your credit or debit card and set up your weekly or monthly recurring seed. You can also give by text with your mobile phone. Simply text the word GIVE to 704-817-2843 and follow the prompts for giving securely. If you choose to mail your offering, you can send that to the ministry's mailbox at Dominion TV, 1000 South Commons Drive, Suite 102, Box 305, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 29588. On behalf of our founders, Dr. Joseph and Dr. Lynette Dutton, may the Lord bless you richly is our prayer.
We're back. Thank you guys for staying with us and joining us. Instagram, it's been good to hear from you this morning. Those of you that are commenting and inboxing us, thank you. We will get back to all of those replies here momentarily. You guys, God is about more than Sunday morning church. And being about Father's business is more than a full-time job. And I'm not, the strategies, the things that we're using here today, I'm not telling you you have to work more hours. I'm not telling you that you have to work harder, that you have to sweat, that you have to labor. I'm saying we have to pray, we have to seek God, we have to seek His Word, because the answers are there for us. And if we lean into all that God has, He's going to start opening up ideas. You know, the first $1 million that you're going to make all happens right here. Because you have to think you can before you will ever access that area of your life. You have to see yourself in some areas, doing some things. You have to see, and I'm using my book. And you guys, if you haven't got it, Destiny will type in the chat and tell you how you can order your book on Amazon or on my website. But this book here is actually a coaching tool on changing your mind, on transforming your mind. Because the Word of God says, be renewed by the transforming of your mind. If you can change your mind, you can change your life, you can change your business, you can change your ministry, you can transform even your relationships. And the Word of God, it's all about relationships. It's all about kingdom. It's taking territory. And when we realize these things, that God speaks into every area of our life, every area of our business, that we can tap into that, we can lean into that, and then that's the labor to enter into His rest, because the rest is easy, because the rest is up to God. Because when you work His principles work. And actually they work whether you work them or not. They just won't work for you unless you work them. And I know that was a mouthful. We have to work the principles of God. The Word of God talks over and over about blessing the work of your hands. What's in your house? What do you have to do? And so we work His principles, we work His Word, and that Word begins working on us, but it begins working for us. Good morning, Phyllis. God bless you. Because there is an increase coming, a supernatural wealth transfer, but it is not coming to somebody who's been in hiding, that is hiding their gifts, hiding their talents, hiding their treasures, wasting their time. Reminds me of my grandchild who always says, I'm bored. But every time you ask them about doing something, it's like, nah, I don't want to do that. God has given us so much. And so we have to be good stewards of the ideas, good stewards of the principles and the laws, because they work. How do I know they work? Because people in the world are working some of these principles and getting the results, because you're sitting there waiting for a prophetic word. You're waiting for a dream, a vision, an unction. But God is saying to you this morning, this is my prophetic word to you. What have you done with all of the things that I have given you to this date? Have you managed those? Have you stewarded those things? That idea, that multi-million-dollar idea I gave you last year, have you worked that yet? I'm telling you, God is faithful. He is good. He is great. And you need to trust those things that He's given you, because when you said yes to God, there is a God inside of you. The God, the great I am, is inside of you. And so we need to tap into the authority, the power, and the DNA of an almighty God and start working that thing. And when you start doing what you can, supernatural favor is about to hit you in a way you could never imagine. You may be retired from a job. You may be on Social Security. You may be working for a corporation and you know just what you're going to get paid for what you're outputting. I'm going to tell you that with this Ecclesiastes 11:2, having 7 to 8 streams of income, currency revenue flows, investments, you are about to see a deluge of abundance hit your life, all limits off. I've got to go. It's 10 a.m. So next week, 9:15 Thursday mornings, I want to see you back here. God bless you. Don't forget to sow. I love you. Lynette Dutton here, and do you know I've got a new book out, Level Up. It's the 63 Days of Transformation to Greater, and I want you can go to the Amazon store, you can go to my website, and I want you to get your copy today. It's an exciting book that takes you on a transformational journey of leveling up your thinking, which affects every part of your life. Go ahead, order your copy today.